Hello, this is Brian Resney, President of Resney Wealth Management, bringing you a important update about the economy and the investment markets. Well, we're getting close to year end. Of course, we're almost in December. And generally speaking, the economy continues to thrive. We continue to see more momentum on the upside with the economy, and I believe that's going to continue into 2022. So we look for greener pastures again next year. We are making a few adjustments in portfolios. Of course, daily research is paramount at Resney Wealth Management. And if we need to get more conservative, of course we will, but we don't see that right now. We actually see the greener pastures as we get into 2022. While inflation's a little bit hot, some of it's transitory, some of it will not be transitory, but the economy will survive. People have lots of money to spend, businesses are doing quite well, and generally speaking, the economy will probably have a decent growth, GDP growth for the next 3 to 5 years, potentially longer. But we look at this stuff every single day, and if we need to change our what we're looking at for the longer term view, and we need to make adjustments within portfolios, of course, we're going to do that. The big thing that's come up recently is, of course, the new COVID variant. By the way, there's over 30 different variants of COVID already. Most people don't know that. There's going to be 30 more variants of COVID in the next year or two, and there's going to be 30 more variants in the year after that and the year after that. So what does that mean? COVID's here just like the annual flu, and hopefully at one point people will stop talking about it. It's going to be part of the natural structure of medicine, and people will hopefully start to move on with their lives more and more over time. But it seems the more we talk about it, the more people get riled up. But I think there's a lot of people in general that are getting sick of talking about it. I myself are one of those people. Again, the vaccines are working. There'll be updated vaccines over time. People are not dying at the rate they were dying. In fact, death rates is actually pretty minimal at this point. And there's great treatments if you do have COVID. So again, just like the flu, we have bad strains of flu. It's been around for hundreds of years. COVID's going to be around the next 100 or 200 years in addition. The economies will survive. We continue to be invested mainly in the U.S. We are looking at a couple areas in the emerging markets, but we again still have not pulled the trigger on that simply because of what we're seeing in some of the lockdowns, shutdowns because of some of the COVID variant. So we like what we're seeing in the U.S. We like the growth here. There are areas in Europe, of course, that are just falling apart, and there's a few areas that are doing okay. But as I always recommend to clients, we never want to be invested in areas that really are more socialist economies that have very little growth opportunity at all. Of course, as most of you probably know, the Build Back Better plan passed the House. It's in the Senate. In my opinion, it won't pass the Senate. It'll go back to the House with a lot of different changes. This will go on probably for another, who knows, month, 6 months, a year. Maybe they pass something. Maybe they won't pass anything. Taxes clearly are not going up this year. And my guess is taxes will probably not go up next year either. But then you never know. They may go up slightly. So what I'm trying to say is this. There's a lot of talk about what Biden was going to do and what the government was going to do after he was elected. And of course, the majority of that is not materializing, at least the bad stuff. Now, is inflation a little bit hotter than we'd like? Sure. Is that caused by, generally speaking, too much money chasing too few goods? Yes. That'll even itself over time. One of the interesting things, though, is let's talk a little bit about oil. And I will tell you, the Biden administration is lying to you. Oil prices are not up because the major oil companies are jacking prices up. It's based on supply and demand. And there was a war on oil and fossil fuels once the Biden administration was in. They've shut down pipelines. They're basically going after land leases now that oil companies lease, and they're going to raise those rates 50%. So what does that mean to oil prices and fossil fuel and natural gas long term? We're going to have higher prices is the bottom line. We were energy independent. We were selling oil and natural gas to the rest of the world, and then that stopped after basically January 1st of this year. So the oil companies are not taking it and putting high prices on you, the consumer. It's the Biden administration and just basic bad policy. So whether you're a Democrat or whether you're a Republican, facts really do matter, and plan on paying more at the pump until there's another elected president and maybe they reduce or basically change over the policies that are currently being put in by the Biden administration. But we do own oil, and oil's done quite well year to date. We're going to continue to add to oil in our portfolios, at least for the time being, but we don't know when we're going to get rid of it. It depends how fast oil gets back up and how long the administration has the war on fossil fuels. As always, if you have any questions about your portfolio, give the office a call. If you have any concerns, of course, give the office a call to schedule a phone review or an office review. And as always, we appreciate your business and your trust and your referrals. This year, record year for ResNet Wealth Management and referrals. If you have friends or family members that need a high-quality money management firm that legally works for them and actually manages their money, we appreciate your referrals. Keep us in mind and make sure you have yourself a safe and happy Christmas and New Year's Eve.